I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome here to Hillside Raceways. We continue on our race weekend here, kicking things off this afternoon with qualifying for the pole position in preparation for tomorrow afternoon's Duracell Next Gen Cup Series race. We begin with the expedited 5-minute qualifying session for our go or go home drivers. Pretty simple here this afternoon for them. Only 3 drivers, 2 available spots. Top 2 speeds, they move on to try and run with the other 40 locked-in drivers for the pole position. Those 3 drivers going to be all now full-time non-charter drivers. Kyle Langland in the 93, Bryce Egan in the 9, Autumn Brooks in the 62. We will see Langland and Brooks later on this afternoon as they will be in the upcoming Duracell Ultra Light Series race here from Hillside. Langland going to be rolling off inside of the top 10. Autumn Brooks, I think, is going to be just outside the top 10 in the top 15. And Autumn Brooks is going to be the first driver to head out onto the racetrack here. With now 4 minutes remaining in the session. They all spent quite a bit of time just sitting there on pit road, getting last-minute preparations set up here. Shorter racetrack than we are normally accustomed to, so maybe not as much opportunity for a draft lap. So you got to bring your A game. You got to have a fast race car, lay down the lap time, maybe by yourself without any assistance of aerodynamics. So Autumn Brooks going to clock in 21.114 for the first official lap of the session, and you'll in a moment see the speeds scrolling on the top of your screen. Now, last time out, these drivers were super speedway racing at the Progressive Speedway. We saw Keith Batson go to victory lane for the first time this season, and we mentioned this yesterday during the qualifying session for the Light Series drivers when Juan Garcia went to victory lane a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte. It really shook up the playoff standings. Well, Batson's victory last time out at Progressive has done exactly the same thing, as he's been able to propel himself up in the point standings, and he has now jumped into a wild card spot. As we're following Autumn Brooks still here, Kyle Langland has taken to the racetrack, but he is about 1.5 tenths off of Autumn Brooks' lap. We're still waiting to see what Bryce Egan puts down for a lap time here with a little under 2.5 minutes remaining. We'll actually wait until the second part of this qualifying session to tell you what the current playoff outlook is, as we're going to find that 9 car. There he is, 21.042 for him. Right now, the other 2 drivers have run in the 22nd bracket. Langland just bested his lap to a 20.655. Autumn Brooks currently with the fastest lap at a 20.596. Egan improves to a 20.7 flat, but that is still about 45 hundredths off of Langland to be able to snipe the second and final transfer spot. A little under 2 minutes left to go. Bryce Egan looking to make his 10th start on the season. Autumn Brooks looking to make her 10th as well. While Kyle Langland, he is looking to make his made his debut back at, I believe it was it Charlotte last week? Or 2 weeks ago, I believe it was? Or it might have actually been last week at Progressive. I'm going to double check on that here real quick. Langland made his debut. I'm pretty sure it was back at Charlotte. And yes, it was. Finished 21st in his debut race. Bryce Egan's got a lap time now. Let's put him at the top of the board. 20.473. And now he drops to second because Langland goes to the top of the board. 20.460. These two have a very good situation where they're able to utilize the tandem, get some draft, and that puts Autumn Brooks on the outside looking in. Her 20.509, which looked really good first half of this session, now has her behind by 300ths Bryce Egan for the final transfer spot. And very unlikely that she's going to be able to merge with this group of two as Egan improves to a 20.471. Langland improves to a 20.439. They're just continuing to open up the gap between themselves and Autumn Brooks. Egan top of the board, but they keep swapping back and forth. Egan with a 20.345. It just shows you the power in these Cup cars. Earlier this weekend, yesterday, in the Light Series qualifying session, fastest lap time was in the low 21s. These drivers are already in the low 20s. Have that added extra sixth gear. And it will be interesting to see as well with that extra downforce, that rear spoiler and everything, how these high speeds are going to affect the racing that we will see tomorrow afternoon. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cup Series drivers will take to the track. We've got Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers here in just a couple of hours at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here from Hillside, so don't miss that. As red flag is out, lap times no longer being taken, zeros on the board, and there you have it. Circumstances working out in favor of Bryce Egan and Kyle Langland finding each other on the track, and because of that, their draft laps are going to put them 1-2, and they will be the two transferees here from knockout qualifying that will be in the running for the pole here in just a moment. Autumn Brooks will be the DNQ this weekend, as she will clock in just a little under 700ths short of the second and final transfer spot. So Egan will make his 10th start of the season. Langland going to be 2 for 3 in his attempts of his Duracell Cup Series career to qualify for the main event. And those two drivers will look to join the other 40 drivers here in just a moment to run for this weekend's pole position. So don't go anywhere. We'll have ourselves a little NNSCRA race break. We'll get those other 40 drivers rolled out onto the grid and find out who's going to start from P1 for tomorrow afternoon's Cup Series race here from Hillside. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Drivers are ready. 10 minutes have begun on the clock. Time to find out who's going to be starting on the pole position, front row. Good starting track position here in preparation for tomorrow afternoon's 16th race of the 8th season of the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series here from Hillside. Drivers rolling out onto pit road. We'll see who that first driver will be to dip their toe and set the pace for everybody else here. Looks like it might be the Celsius Mazda of Anthony McCrory. Jack Mitchell coming out as well in the McDonald's Chevrolet. I don't know. We saw in the lights qualifying session yesterday, some drivers, they wanted to be out there first, have a clean racetrack for their money lap. Other drivers, they were able to rely on the draft to be able to put themselves up near the top of the board. Chris Dollerton, who later on this afternoon will be starting from the pole position, he put up his pole clinching lap. It was about 2-3 minutes into the session, so we'll see if the same is going to be said here for for any of these drivers. Anthony coming off a bit of momentum, had a good run last time out at the Progressive Super Speedway. Moved up 3 spots in the standings, but that's just a little glimmer of hope in what's been an overall abysmal season for him. Anthony has either been really good or really bad. He's got 4 top 10s, and all 4 of those top 10s are top 5s, but he also finds himself 35th in the point standings. So he's trying to find a little bit of consistency here down the home stretch, and maybe last week, maybe that good run might be just what he needs to start climbing up through the point standings. Still not mathematically out of it. A win, some consistent top 5s, top 10s, 3-4 weeks in a row. Drivers that are down there outside the top 30 in points still have a shot of advancing their way into a playoff position. They are not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Right now, Anthony is top of the board, but we will see if that changes during the course of this session. Let's take an opportunity here to bring you up to speed on what the playoffs look like coming into this weekend. Mentioned that Keith Batson, the most recent driver to go to victory lane last week, his first win on the season. That moved him up to 15th in overall points, so he now finds himself in a wild card position. Your top 10 in points, your drivers top 10 in the standings, top 10 will point their way into the playoffs regardless of if they've won or not at the end of the regular season, would be as follows: Levi McIntyre, Carson Gum, Alexander Rowe, Ryan Brommer, James Qualls, Jack Mitchell, Matt McIntyre, Nick Gunther, Quentin Moore, and Michael Norman. Point of note, Gunther and Norman both pointed their way up into the top 10 after last week's race at Progressive Super Speedway. So right now, those drivers would be in on points. This is, of course, assuming that last week was the last race of the regular season. There's still a long ways to go in this push towards the playoffs. Your wildcard positions currently look like this. 2 wins, 16th in overall points, puts Matt Haas in the number 1 wildcard seed. Destin Bolin, also multi-time winner on the season, 23rd in points, would be in the number 2 wildcard spot. Eric Sadler, 12th in points with a victory, is in the number 3 spot. Keith Batson with his victory last week, that jumped him up, as mentioned, to 15th in points. He currently sits in the number 4 wildcard position. Connor Breton with a win, 20th in points, currently sits in the 5th wildcard spot. And those are the only drivers inside the top 30 in points, but outside the top 10 that have a victory. So the last and final playoff position right now, the 6th and final wildcard spot, would go to the driver highest in the points without a victory. That would be 11th in standings, Summer Henson. We do have a couple of contenders hovering there around the cut line that are former winners. One of them, Nathan Orman. Orman jumped up 5 spots in the standings after last week to 32nd in points. He is 9 points below the cut line of 30th in the standings. The Manassas Speedway winner could have an opportunity with a good run tomorrow afternoon to make his way back up into the top 30, which would then put at least 6 potential wild card drivers with race wins in the wild card positions. Speaking of Michael Norman, pointing his way into the top 10 last week, he is fastest in Hillside at this current point in time at a 20.237. Michael has kind of flip-flopped the last couple of weeks with the top 10 in overall standings. He was top 10 in points at the conclusion of the first half of the regular season, then dropped out of the top 10 after Charlotte, moved back in after last week at Progressive. Currently sits a total of 8 points ahead of his nearest competitor in that critical 10th position in overall standings. Would love to pick up a victory here tomorrow afternoon and maybe solidify himself a spot in the postseason. Cody Lamas right now is second on the board in his Toyota. See if we can find the Advent Health Camry. He might be on pit road, actually, unless I completely scanned over him accidentally. We'll look for him in a moment. Driver I think we got to keep an eye on is Nick Gunther. He has, last couple of weeks, maybe been the hottest driver in terms of consistency. Has now made his way up into the top 10 in points, jumped from 11th to 8th after the conclusion of Progressive Super Speedway, and he is 8th overall in points. Consider this fact as well. there's a couple of drivers up there inside the top 10 in the standings. They've yet to really show out statistically, but they've still been able to move their way up in the point standings. Gunther as well as Matt McIntyre, 7th and 8th respectively in points, only have one top 5 each. You look at Quentin Moore, who right now sits 9th in overall points. He's got a 0 in the top 5 column. But I said this before and I'll say it again. Consistency does not always have to be in the top 5 or the top 10. If you consistently finish in the top 15 week after week after week, yeah, it may not show up all that flashy on the statistics charts, but it's going to garner you enough points that you are definitely going to be in the conversation to point your way into the playoffs. That is a thing that we really implemented this season, to award drivers that may not be able to be flashy, may not be able to be in the conversation for the win every single week, but if they are consistent, they are rewarded with battling for the championship. And this guy right here was kind of a reason that whole rule was spearheaded in James Qualls, because you go back to that consistent season that he had, back in season 6, and he didn't make the playoffs. I mean, you go back, I think Matt Haas that season as well didn't make the playoffs. They were consistent, but they couldn't find victory lane. And those drivers that did find victory lane were able to knock those other drivers out of contending for the championship. So the system that we have now, it rewards drivers that are consistent, not necessarily always inside of the top 5, top 10, but consistently inside of the top 15, maybe even the top 20, can get you into the top 10 in points and can get you into a playoff battle, a playoff position. Cody Lamas, we're going to look for him. He was 2nd. He has now dropped to 3rd fastest on the board at a 20.274. I incorrectly said he was in a Toyota. I thought he was in a Toyota, going all out with the Jimmy Johnson thing, but he's a Chevrolet out of Lama Racing. He just lost the 2nd position to another Chevrolet moments ago, that being the 27 of Joshua Osborne. A lot of drivers on pit road. There is Osborne, the 27 car. Currently sitting about 300ths off of the pole lap currently set by Michael Norman. 2.63 to Norman's 2.37. Summer Henson, currently 4th fastest on the board at a 2.85, and Benjamin Snyder currently sits 5th at a 2.94. Summer Henson, as we mentioned, currently in the final wild card spot, playoff-wise, 11th in overall standings, still searching for her first career win. And one thing we haven't talked a whole lot about in the last couple of weeks has been that rookie points battle. Summer Henson is leading the rookie points coming into this week. 2 points in hand over Eric Monaco, 6 over Eric Sadler, and currently 8 points over Daniel Bouchard. So still very close there amongst those full-time rookie contenders. Bryce Egan is a rookie this season as well, as he is this afternoon locked himself into tomorrow afternoon's race, which means that he will be making his 10th start. And if you make more than 10 starts during the course of a season, the following season you are not eligible for Rookie of the Year. So Bryce Egan, despite the fact that he didn't start the season out as a Duracell Cup Series driver, and the fact that he is a non-charter driver that has to qualify in pretty much every week, he is running for Rookie of the Year this season, will be ineligible next season. He and Kyle Langland, the 2 drivers that transferred in. Right now, Langland has made good. He is currently 13th fastest. Bryce Egan currently is 40th fastest on the charts. And remember, we saw Anthony McCurry was the first driver out. He is currently last, 42nd on the speed charts right now. So going out that early did not seem to benefit the Mazda out of Garage 55. Zeros on the clock, as you can see. Michael Norman looks like his 20.237 is going to hold serve, and he will be starting from the pole position here tomorrow afternoon. Michael about to capture his first pole of season 8. Joshua Osborne looks like he will share the front row as session is indeed now concluded. And we'll take a look at what will be the official starting lineup for tomorrow afternoon's race here from Hillside. Ford of Michael Norman, Chevrolet of Joshua Osborne will be your front row. Then a Chevy and a Toyota back in row 2 with Lamas and rookie Summer Henson. Benjamin Snyder will be back in row 3 with Jack Mitchell, Connor Breton, last week's winner Keith Batson. They're going to be up in the top 10 in 7th and 8th. And then Caleb Fogler and Matt Haas are going to be the completion of your top 10. Look a little bit further down here in the qualifying results. A couple of names of drivers that we'll be keeping an eye on during the course of that race. You got Nick Gunther, who we mentioned about the momentum he's been on. 27th is where he'll be starting. Carson Gum, who's in that battle with Levi McIntyre for the points lead. Both of them going to start very deep in the field. Carson 34th, points leader Levi McIntyre back in 36th position. So those drivers going to have a lot of work to do here tomorrow afternoon. However, mentioned this in the lights race, this is a track where you can pass. You can make up track position. There's a lot of pitfalls being back there as well that you have to avoid, but it is possible to work your way from mid-pack, rear of the field, up to the front, whether it be just with a fast race car, maybe on pit strategy. We'll have to wait and see. But the good starting track position will belong to Michael Norman as he gets his first pole of the season. Hope you guys enjoyed this qualifying session here from Hillside. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you your qualifying results here, and we will see you guys in a couple of hours as the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers get ready for race pace here from the Hillside Raceway, continuing on their season, getting one step closer towards their playoffs. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. Cup Series drivers, you'll see them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until whichever race you tune into, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.